Very good morning. It's Penuel, the Black Pen. So I had a chance to watch the interview between Thabile Ngwato of Newzroom Africa and Mcebo Dlamini, who is now an activist, an ANC member, and one of the young leaders that has really blazed the trail in this country. He's a Bantu Biko student. He was one of the faces and the leaders of Fees Must Fall, along with Abo Nompendulo Mkhatshwa and other leaders around the country. And he was asked to come and basically share his views on the state of the nation, the African National Congress itself, and what he thinks about the future of this country. I just want to highlight some of the things that stood out for me from the interview. I know a lot of people had a lot to say about the interview itself. Mcebo Dlamini is an amazing leader. A lot of young people are waiting for him to come back, put his hand up and become more vocal as he had been before. I had invited him when I'd initially joined the virtual Mkuku with DJ Sbu, and he'd agreed to come through to come and have a conversation with us. But I'm guessing that I think work just got the better of him. And I'm hoping that as time goes on, we will get another opportunity to sit with him, whether it's going to be myself and DJ Sbu, or whether it's just going to be myself and Mcebo Dlamini himself. He's a very, very necessary voice in this time. The first thing that stood out for me was Mcebo Dlamini highlighting that Lesotho has the highest murder rate on the continent of Afrika. Thabile was taken aback and she said, no, I'll need to verify that. And of course, your boy, Penuel the Black Pen, I went to verify it and it is actually very true. In the top 10 in the world murder rates, Lesotho is the only one, with Nigeria. I'm not sure if it's in the top 10 or just falls out of the top 10 in the world. When you look at the murder rate, it's obviously not going to be numbers, like the largest number, but it is numbers per segment. So Lesotho has arguably about 43 murders per 100,000 citizens in their country. And what the Lesotho leadership had said, now that we're speaking about Zamazamas, these guys that are illegally mining, and the rapes and the murders that are happening, a lot of them linked to the Basotho people who are here illegally. The Lesotho leadership said that a lot of these guys are criminals and we want them. These are murderers, these are rapists that have run away from Lesotho and that are in South Africa illegally, continuing to do their crimes. And it's obviously up to the South African government to take a harder stance on rounding up these people and sending them back home, especially those that are criminals even back home, because there are crimes that they have to account for there. So that was very scary. And it's something for you guys to know that Lesotho has the highest murder rate per 100,000 people on the African continent. In the world, it's arguably third or sixth, depending on which stats that you look at. You've got El Salvador, you've got Honduras, you've got Jamaica. Those are some of the countries that are up there with high murder rates, just so that you guys know. The second thing that stood out for me was his, and this became a soundbite, the fact that the South African national government, the ANC, has created a dependency state. And that's true. We've got half of our population on one or other grant. Close to 30 million people out of our 60 million people either earn a child grant, an old age grant. They may be earning the social relief for distress grant of 350 Rand, which they're looking to take up to 624 Rand per month. There's some grant that half of the population is on, and you can't receive a grant if you're earning 3.5 or more, which means these are people that are earning under 3,500 Rand. Kids are studying for free thanks to the ANC government. Kids are being fed at school. People are getting free healthcare. People are getting free homes, RTP homes. That means, in effect, the government has become your children and you cannot function outside of them. And in your brain, just like a god out there, every time you have a problem, be it crime, be it you're hungry, be it you need a home, you always say, I wait for government to feed me. So our government has created a dependency state. And it seems like it's going to be getting worse closer to 2024, because it seems like the ANC wants to use this as a way to get more people, or people just to vote for them, to say, look at what we've done for you. Look at the pocket money we give you every month. Pocket money that comes from taxpayers. The bulk of taxpayers being, of course, the upper middle class, largely white people, some black people, a lot of them who probably don't even vote for the ANC. The bulk of them who don't have access to a lot of these freebies. If you're earning above certain incomes, you obviously don't have access to social welfare. It's for the poor. The next thing he said, and Thabile actually got him to kind of unpack, was Thabile was asking, are you saying apartheid was better than the current status? Mcebo obviously said no. Apartheid was very oppressive to a lot of people. But if you look at the tertiary institutions that they built, those are still the institution today that even black people want to go to. Your UCTs, your University of Witwatersrand, your Rhodes Universities, your UJs, which used to be Rao, Randza Afrikaanse Universiteit, your University of the Free State, your Potchefstroom University. The more Bantustan universities, Fort Hare, Ongoye, Turfloop, Univen, he says those have been destroyed. Black people don't want to send their kids there, and it's thanks to the government that we have today. And he was saying, if you look at the infrastructure, and it's conversations that I've had time and time again, the state-owned enterprises that the ANC inherited, Eskom, Sasol, Telkom, ISCO, which was sold to Mittal. If you look at Armscor, Denel, so much infrastructure that was built for the apartheid government has been destroyed by the current administration. Yes, you can say, but the apartheid government was only serving 10% of the nation. Why then was there no good planning from the ANC? To say, since it was serving 10% of the nation, let us now build 9 times the infrastructure that they've built, number one, to cater for the rest of the population. And number two, can we at least maintain the current infrastructure we inherited from the apartheid government? Problem. Thabile went on to say, but you're saying the ANC has a leadership vacuum, but you're still a good standing member of the ANC. Mcebo said, yes, but the ANC has hope. What I took from that is, number one, yes, Mcebo is part of the problem by being part of the ANC. He wants the ANC to do better, but he's still part of there. He's saying there are old people that are not innovative. He's saying a lot of them were servant leaders back in the day, but here we are now, they're chasing money. But he's part of the problem, and I think a lot of ANC members are looking for a new home, and they're just scared of where to go. They believe the DA is a racist organization that has spat out Musi Maimane, Herman Mashaba, Lindiwe Mazibuko, Phumzile van Dam, and a whole host of other black leaders. So why would any black leader want to go there where they are also going to be spat out, or they're going to be expected to behave in a certain way? They look at other groups like COPE, which has kind of fizzled away. Aham, Yamampela Rampele is gone. Where do you go? The IFP, which some people brand as a Zulu organization that is tribalist. Where do you go? Do you go to the Patriotic Alliance of Gates and Mackenzie, which is still young? Do you go to Action SA of Herman Mashaba, which looks like a DA light? Where do people go if they want to leave the ANC? And the other thing that I'm realizing is, closer to 2024, a lot of the political parties are going to have to speak to the masses. It's nice to speak to those of us who are educated and literate, to tell us about SOEs and infrastructure. The masses of this country want to know, is my child going to be able to go to school for free? Is my child going to be getting fed? Can we carry on getting grants? Will you give us NSFAS? Will you build us homes? And if the DA, PA, Action SA, IFP, PAC, whatever political party, EFF, the EFF of Julius Malema, Floyd Shibambu, Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, Mam Kaula, Naledi Chiro, are they going to campaign hardly and tell the masses, we will give you those things, but we will also make sure that we govern better? Because a lot of people now believe that only the ANC can deliver the current social welfare and the other political parties can't, so why vote for anyone else? One of the things Mcebo was saying was, Thabile herself and other journalists and the media refuse to speak about white monopoly capital that has captured the leaders, ANC and others as well. Nikki Oppenheimer, Johann Rupert, those are 2 big names. There are other names, of course. There's the Herzog family of Anglophile. Today we have Yanni Mouton of PSG. The Stellenbosch Mafia, Christo Visa of PEP and ShopRite. Jonathan Bear, who is unknown and owns a lot of property in South Africa and around the world. People like Doe Steyn, whose home Nelson Mandela stayed in when he was writing The Long Walk to Freedom. We need to have these conversations. Is Patrice Motsepe a proxy for some of these people? And when he donates to an ANC, EFF, is he just taking money from these people to make sure that they are hidden? Johann Rupert tried, man, with Given Curry. He tried to have a conversation with South Africans and he got bashed. And from there, he decided to just walk away. He was trying to extend a hand. You may hate him, but he wanted to have a conversation. Nicky Oppenheimer's never had a conversation with South Africans. He's never attempted. And all these other guys have not. I've had conversations with Rob Hersov, who's a legacy child of the Harrisov family. People from the Manal family, who are also part of Anglophile. They were the ones that ensured that Patrice Motsepe got a stake in the company. There are people like Cecil John Rose, Barney Bonato, who built companies, De Beers, JCI, that became BEE vehicles for the Mzikumalo, Saki Machozoma, Cyril Ramaphosas of this world. When are we having those conversations with those people? Rob has told me that he hates this concept of state capture. It pisses him off. He wants to contribute to the country. He wants the country to work. But who is offering these people a good enough platform to hear their side, whether it is good or bad, and allow us to then, after hearing from them and their perspective, to then be like, you know what, this is actually a bad human being. I don't think he even sees it. Or this is actually a good human being, and he's doing the most. Johann Rupert has got a company, Richemont, which is the second largest luxury goods company in the world. It's headquartered in Switzerland, but he makes sure that the dividends flow to South Africa because Johann Rupert is the biggest taxpayer in the country. He is the biggest taxpayer in the country, and his tax makes sure that you have RDPs, that you have grants, that you have free healthcare. But he gets bashed as white monopoly capital. Can we have a conversation with him? The PIC, which has the pension funds of your government employees, your mom who's a teacher, your dad who's a cop, your mom who's a nurse, your mom who's a traffic cop. Their pension sits with the PIC, which invests in all of these companies we call white monopoly capital. Are we having that conversation? If these people are part of the problem, can we speak to them objectively, comfortably, in a safe space, and just hear, what have you guys done for this country? What are you doing for this country? Who are you actually funding in the politicians? And what is your mandate for them? And are they delivering on that mandate? When Cyril said Tumamina, was he actually speaking to you? Saying, guys, since you have the money, Stephen Sard, Brian Joffe, Stephen Sard at Aspen, which does the COVID and the ARVs, the COVID vaccines and the ARVs. Brian Joffe, Bidvest, which have some of the biggest tenders in the country. Some of the construction cartel guys. Group 5, Marion Roberts. Your Vodacoms, your MTNs. The big banks, the big auditing firms, the big law firms. Who's running this stuff? Where's the money going? The mining tycoons. The Glencores of this world. Patrice Motsepe and ARM and Harmony. African Rainbow Minerals. Like, we need to have these conversations. The important thing for me that Mcebo said is people need to go back to being passionate about service and not about enriching their pockets. Nhlanhla Lux of Soweto Parliament has put up his hand to serve on the ground, and he gets bashed and he's called a puppet that he's been sent. Gayton McKenzie has put up his work in the Central Karoo and he's working. And he's working with some of these rich white people you may not like, and he's serving. Duduzane Zuma, linked to the Guptas with his dad, Jacob Zuma, has been bashed. People are saying him and his dad and the RET faction want to come back and loot. He's put up his hand, he's trying to serve. There are people on the ground that are trying to serve, and I keep imploring young people, wherever you may be, in your family, in your community, in your neighborhood, what are you doing? How are you serving? We need to fall in love with service. Young people today, they go and they join ANC branches and they sing struggle songs and the girls wear the dukes. Because they think in their heads, one day I will become a leader and I will chow tenders. One day I will be in bed with these rich white people and I will be rich myself. That's why a lot of them have their gatherings at Cubania, at Konka, where they're popping bottles, where they're sitting with celebrities and laughing and getting drunk and boasting on who drives the fanciest car outside. They don't care about the people on the ground. They care about enriching themselves. And that's the caliber of leadership we have in this country. That's the caliber of young leadership that is looking to ascend up the ranks. It's not servants. It's not people that can tell you, this is the school that I built. This is the clinic that I built. These are the trees that I've planted in the neighborhoods. These are the people that I've educated. These are the scholarships that I have fundraised. These are the girls who I've raised money for sanitary towels. These are the people who have helped to get free Wi-Fi so they can educate themselves in their homes. We've lost the concept of servant leadership. And no one is coming to save you. You're waiting for the ANC, you're waiting for the DA, you're waiting for the EFF. Guys, it is you. It starts and ends with you. And for one of the things also that I took out was this thing of we don't have leaders. Or we have a leadership vacuum. And I'm also starting to realize that we don't have good followers. We have a followers vacuum. When I look at groups like AfriForum as an example, a lot of the leadership, they are normal people. Kali Kriel, Ernst, Roots, Arends van Sail, some of the guys, they're just normal guys that are just doing work. I mean, if you compare them to brilliant black Indian kids that are in corporate, you can't compare. Those kids are brilliant. These guys are normal guys who are just doing their work. But what's important is they have followers. They have followers that are committed to sending money every single month. They have followers that are committed to attending branch meetings. They have followers that are willing to volunteer, to cut grass, to fill in potholes, to take turns in neighborhood watch. They have good followers that are saying, if you will lead, I will follow. And if you're going to say we're waiting for a leader, are you a good follower? A lot of South Africans are saying we need benevolent dictators like a Paul Kagame. Is this because you don't trust yourself as a follower to do the right thing? Do you need to be whipped into action? Do you need to be punished every time you don't do the right thing? These are important conversations that we need to have. Great conversations with Mcebo. If people in his team happen to watch this video, again, this is an invitation to him to come and join myself and DJ Sbu on the virtual Nkuku for a conversation, or to come and join me on my new platform, The Panel Show, to come and have a conversation. We need to have important conversations. We need to influence minds so that people can stop being dependent on the state. Sri Lanka has a 110% debt to GDP ratio. South Africa is sitting at an 85% debt to GDP ratio. All it will take is for the IMF, the World Bank, maybe the BRICS Bank, to come and say we're no longer loaning money to South Africa, for this country to go bankrupt and for us to become Sri Lanka. And if we, each and every one of us, is not willing to put in the work, nothing is going to change. Pin you all the black pen. Have a blessed day. Let's keep engaging and keep doing our bit to make this country, our neighborhoods, our families better. Cheers.